What does quality service mean to us? How do we evaluate it? Usually, we pay attention to a few standard things: whether the staff was friendly, whether the order was delivered quickly, whether they answered our questions, whether they made a mistake. In the Western world, it is generally accepted that good service is when a customer is satisfied, when they feel important, when they are treated with respect. In many countries, there is a rule: the customer is always right, and it would seem that this should be enough. But in Japan, things are a little different. There is a special concept there that is radically different from what we are used to. It is called Omotenashi. It's not just a set of service rules, not a set of template phrases that employees learn by heart. It's not just a smile for a customer that may actually be forced. Omotenashi is a deep philosophy that permeates all areas of Japanese life. Imagine a place where you are served in such a way that you don't even need to ask for anything, where every step you take is already foreseen, where every little thing is thought out to make you feel comfortable, where everything works like an invisible mechanism wrapped in politeness, delicacy, and care. This is Omotenashi, the art of hospitality that comes from the heart. To understand where this philosophy came from, we should look into the distant past. One of the most striking manifestations of Omotenashi is the tea ceremony. In traditional Japanese culture, brewing tea is not just a mechanical action, it is a real ritual. Every movement, every look, every detail is important here. A tea master does not just prepare a drink, he creates an atmosphere in which the guest can relax, feel calm and harmonious. There is no room for haste or inattention in this process, because the main task is to make a person feel important without unnecessary words. It is this principle that has gradually spread to hotels, restaurants, companies, and even to the everyday life of the Japanese. It has become not just a part of business, but a part of culture. Omotenashi is not about the desire to impress, not about the desire to make more money, not about the desire to sell a product. It is about a sincere desire to make another person's stay pleasant. What distinguishes Omotenashi from the standard approach to service that we see in most countries? For example, in Western culture, the basic principle is as follows: the customer is always right. This means that companies do everything possible to satisfy the client, to fulfill their wishes, sometimes even to the detriment of their own principals or employees. But things are different in Japan. There is no concept of fighting for a client, no desire to convince them or force them to buy something. The main thing is to create harmony so that both the client and the staff feel comfortable. If you have ever been to Japan, you may have noticed that the service here is different from what we are used to. This is especially noticeable in traditional ryokans, Japanese hotels, where every action of the staff is imbued with care. When you enter, you are immediately served hot tea, offered a kimono and a handwritten greeting letter on the table. And all this is not done for the sake of tips or high praise. In Japan, tipping is not accepted at all, because Omotenashi is not about money. It's about sincerity and the desire to do something good without expectation of reward. Another important point is attention to detail. Imagine a situation where you forgot something in a store. In most countries, you might not even be told about it. But in Japan, a store employee may run after you for several blocks to return your lost item, even if it's just a small thing. Because in their understanding, good service is not just about doing their job, but about making sure that the customer is not inconvenienced. This principle can be seen even in large companies. For example, at Lexus, you get not just a car, but a unique experience. You are greeted, offered drinks, and never kept waiting. Even during service, everything is thought out so that you do not feel uncomfortable. This is Omotenashi in action, when you are taken care of before you even think about it. While in Western culture, a customer can express their dissatisfaction, demand a replacement dish, or argue in Japan, everything is different. Here, the waiter will apologize, perhaps even replace the dish, but not because he is afraid of losing the client, but because he feels responsible for the guest's comfort. Omotenashi is about harmony, about creating an atmosphere where everyone feels good. Omotenashi is not just about being friendly or doing a job well. It is a way of thinking, a deep conviction that even the smallest act matters. Imagine a world in which everyone sincerely wants to do something good for someone else, not because they are expected to, but because they just feel that way. This is the essence of Japanese hospitality. To understand where this approach came from, it is worth looking at history. The origins of Omotenashi can be found in the samurai code of honor, Bushido. Samurai lived by the principles of impeccable discipline, responsibility, and respect for others. They believed that every action should have a meaning, that one should be perfect in any business. These principles later grew into the culture of Japanese service, which today impresses the whole world. But Omotenashi is not just about hotels, restaurants, or shops. It's about how the Japanese treat each other in everyday life. For example, there is no competition between colleagues in companies as we are used to seeing it in the West. It is important not just to do your job, but to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable working. If someone makes a mistake, they are not rudely pointed out or made to look bad. They are helped to rectify the situation without humiliating them. Another interesting aspect is the Japanese attitude to public space. Have you ever noticed that Japanese cities are amazingly clean, even where there are no garbage cans? That's because the Japanese don't just not litter. They see cleanliness as part of their responsibility to society. This is also a manifestation of Omotenashi, thinking about others, even if they are strangers. Another example is behavior in public transportation. In many countries, people talk loudly, make phone calls, and can be quite intrusive. But in Japan, it's the opposite. It's customary to keep quiet so as not to disturb others. Just imagine, you get into a subway car and it's absolutely silent. People are reading, looking out the window, but no one makes any noise. It's also part of the Japanese culture of caring, respecting the space of others. And now the most interesting question is, can we apply Omotenashi in our lives? Can this concept be transferred outside of Japan? The answer is definitely yes. You don't need to live in Tokyo or work in a luxury hotel. It is enough to change your approach to everyday things. Omotenashi's first rule is to see other people's needs before they even talk about them. It can be something very simple. For example, you see that someone in your company is lost in the documents. Help them without waiting for them to ask. Or you notice that a person is uncomfortable. Pull out a chair, offer them something to drink. Make a simple gesture that shows that you are paying attention. The second principle is attention to detail. Think about it. How much more comfortable would our lives be if each of us paid attention to the little things? This does not mean that you need to be obsessed with order, but for example, if you put something wrong or inadvertently created an inconvenience, fix it. If you are visiting, make sure your host is pleased. If you're at work, leave the place tidy. All this creates an atmosphere of care. Another important thing is to be polite without expecting gratitude. Often we do something good, but deep down we expect to be praised or thanked. Omotenashi teaches us to do good deeds simply because it is the right thing to do. You can help someone on the street, make a pleasant surprise for a colleague, support someone in a difficult moment. Not to get gratitude, but simply because it's the right thing to do. Finally, another aspect is respect for other people's space. This applies to everything: how we behave in public transport, how we speak in public places, how we treat the personal boundaries of others. Even such simple things as not taking a seat at the subway exit or not talking loudly on the phone in a crowded place already create comfort for others. Omotenashi is not just about service or business. It is about our attitude to people, to life, to the world. It is about the desire to do something more than what is expected of us. And if we start applying this philosophy in our lives even a little bit, we will see how our relationships, our communication, and even our outlook on life will change.